This just in, Danny Baha has been suspended as CEO of Lotus. We go live now to Norfolk for reaction to that piece of news. Hello, welcome to Gareth Jones on Speed. I'm Gareth and the 80s is in me. He's Richard and the 90s is in you, is it, Richard?
Well, a bit of both.
Yeah, a bit of both, 80s and 90s.
Oh, a child of the 80s, yes.
And Zog, the future's in you, isn't it?
I hope so, yeah. A bit of the future, a bit of 80s. Oh, definitely a bit of 80s.
Bit of 70s as well.
A bit of 70s as well.
I've probably got more 70s and 60s. I've got most of the...
I like a bit of 20s, actually.
Nice, yeah.
The
I like the 30s.
Cocktail bit of the 20s,
yes.
you know, I've got a bit of that.
I like the futurism of the 20s and the 30s. That suited me.
But without the right-wing politics, without
honestly, fascism... As a father to two small sons, fascism, I'd get stuff done, I'm telling you. Anyway, there's a reason...
Moving swiftly on.
Why I'm talking about this. I had a tremendous tweet the other day from Robin Hales, who follows me on Twitter.
Halesy? The Halesmeister.
The Halesish King. Who also works for Hyundai, by the way.
Does he?
Yeah, and by the way, Hyundai...
Well done.
Why aren't you at Le Mans? Isn't it about time the Koreans were at Le Mans?
Give them a
Just
chance.
a thought.
I'd rather they spent the money on making the cars better and stuff, which they seem to be doing.
Yeah, they're doing a great job.
But, you know, let's not get carried away.
Come on, yeah, doing good.
They can come up with a good entry, good approach. Yeah, why not?
Well, what they should do is go in with something like the Delta Wing that Nissan are involved with now and do something a bit ballsy and attention-seeking. But then, of course, the risk is that it fails. Anyway, so the Halesmeister...
Yeah, the Hales King. He suggested, how about on the next Gareth Jones on Speed, you do a top 10 list of best ever F1 liveries. Mm-hmm. And I thought, yeah, that's good, but it might take all week for us to agree. So instead, I suggested that we each pick our top 3.
Can I, at this point, offer an apology in advance?
Yes.
Because when you told me about this...
About a minute ago.
I wasn't really paying attention.
Yeah.
And I didn't know it was just F1.
Oh, it isn't just F1. That's
is it? Okay.
My next qualifier is that we can open it out.
Racing.
Okay. We can. That was what first thing I was going to say is we can open it out.
Does it have to be racing though? Because one of mine is the coach line down the side of the Vauxhall Belmont.
Not
flare.
allowed.
Okay, good.
I was going to suggest a small modification, which would be that if we're going to go round and sort of do, as I think we're going to do, what's your third favourite?
Yeah.
What's your second favourite?
Yeah.
What's your favourite?
Yeah.
I reckon there's going to be some crossover here.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, do you then have an alternate entry, which is your non-F1...
This is not my top 3 necessarily. My top 3...
Yeah.
It would take too long to decide.
Yeah.
I'd need a couple of weeks minimum of solid thinking.
Yeah.
So
and
I've just chosen
things
that first popped into my head.
Yeah.
And then I've ignored those because I think some of the things that pop into your head
are
the two obvious
ones.
ones. There'll be overlap. I've chosen some obtuse and obscure ones.
Likewise.
So let's go on. Oh, right. So we'll probably end up all in
the same car. We'll all just have one car.
Okay, go on. So who's going first?
All right, well, we'll start with you, Zog, because you're the rational man. Your third choice for Motorsport livery of all time. Motorsport liveries of all time. Third place.
I've got 3 F1 liveries down here.
That's fine.
But I'm going to substitute a non-F1 because I now understand, because of this clarification, there's a particular livery which has suddenly shot to the top of my list.
Okay.
Yeah.
But, okay, so... Oh, this is tricky. Do I play this tactically? Because...
the betting man, you see.
Interesting.
Okay. My third favourite. It's got to be the Ferrari sort of 642, 643 of the early 90s, Jean Alesi, Gerhard Berger era, that nice sort of clean, deep red and black.
Yes.
Yeah,
not the
Ferrari.
Strident red of today.
Not slightly more orangey.
I think it was called Rosso Red. I think Ferrari called it Rosso Red.
Doesn't that just mean red?
Doesn't that just say F1, classic F1?
Yeah.
Beautiful red car, number 27, driven by Jean Alesi.
A Jip sponsorship, a Jip fuel.
What else was on there then?
Goodyear,
Not much.
Goodyear tyres,
Fiat,
Magneti
Morelli.
Yeah.
There wasn't actually much more sponsored.
No. I remember a lot of red, but
a lot of red.
It's
It's like kind of humpback, almost like that sort of,
It's a nice
like a salmon in that late stage of spawning, which isn't a great image, but you know what I mean. That's a humpback image. Yeah, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. That's my number 3.
Nice. Ooh. Classic start with a Ferrari. Richard Porter, what's your number 3? You like the way I did that in the style of Coleman there?
That sounded more to me like someone else, I can't remember.
Yeah.
Hopeless, are we?
Greatest motorsport liveries of all time. Third place. Richard.
I've been obtuse, and again, it was just things that popped into my mind that I thought you two wouldn't have picked. So I'm going to go, first of all, for Tony Pond's rallying Triumph
TR7 8.
Well,
it was a 7 V8.
TR7 V8.
It was red.
Spotter's badge.
Thank you.
It was red, but it had a very simple, and I think this is actually genuine. I'm not just doing this to be a BL nerd, but it was on there somewhere. But the thing was, it had a sort of blue shield on the top part of the bonnet, and then it had a blue. It kind of followed the contour line of the. Oh my god, they've done it to the other side of the TR7 with blue. And the classy touch for me, I think, white picked out just some key details, including the wheel arches. It was quite minimalist. I think on any other car, it would have been regarded as quite a classic livery, but because it was a TR7, it was a bit of a comedy.
76,
but it really is the best looking that the TR7 coupe has ever been.
76, 77?
No, a bit later than that, I think.
Was it?
Yeah, getting on. And then
was it?
Yeah.
Because I saw that car. I think it went through the Lombard RAC rally, went through RAF Sealand, or perhaps Broughton, where the Airbus factory is now. I forget, it was a long time ago, but definitely late 70s. I saw that car. Wonderful. Lovely.
I've got this here on my tablet device, but if I show it to you, you will see the tabs on the internet which...
can you cover those? Put your hand across the top.
No, wait a minute, I can do this. Wait. See?
Yeah.
But that's not a brilliant picture.
It's pretty
Notice the headlights. The pop-up headlights have, I think, probably been bolted in place because they used to...
Yeah, you wouldn't want them to drop in the middle of the night.
But genuinely, I think that's a nice colour scheme because it's quite simple.
British.
It was at the time very modern. Yes, but that's the thing. But it uses the elements of the national flag, and there's nothing wrong with it. Alitalia used the elements of the Italian flag, and it's a great livery. It's a classic.
Funny you should mention this, but I think there's a real problem with putting anyone in sort of the UK flag of the Union colours. It always ends up looking like National Rent-A-Van. You know, it doesn't look cool. It looks corporate.
Say National Front.
No, if you don't as well.
See, I never think, you look like National Rent-A-Van. I always just think that, sometimes people associate waving the Union flag around with being a racist.
Yeah, it's a problem. But because it changes the emphasis.
Proudly waving an English flag.
It's a good flag. I mean, it's a bloody iconic design, isn't it?
Yeah.
Everyone else just 3 blocks of colour in stripes.
Yeah. I mean, obviously the Welsh flag is pretty good as well, but
if my nation was mentioned on the flag of the Union, I might support it, but we're not. But the red, white, and blue.
No, because the flagpole looks like an L, the national letter of Wales.
But I like the fact that red is the predominant colour in Tony Pond's TR7 V8. I agree with you on that. I think that's nice.
I think it's a nice livery on an underrated car. I love a TR7 V8 or a TR8 proper. But with that livery, mega.
Okay, good. My number 3. Greatest motorsport liveries of all time. Third place. Gareth. Talking about national liveries.
Is it going to be a Lancia by any chance?
It's not, no, it usually is, but it's not on this occasion, no. Because they do look lovely in the Alitalia colours, you're right, Stratos.
I think that,
But there again, in 97, when the Stewart Ford turned up, the SF1, that white car with HSBC sponsorship, but most importantly, that nice bit of red, white and blue tartan.
Is it true that they tweaked that tartan after testing to make it look better on telly? Yes,
it's called Racing Stewart, that tartan. It's actually a registered tartan.
Which clan is that?
Racing Stewart, and it's different to the pattern that Jackie had on his helmet when he raced in the 60s. There was a lot of guesswork. Is it going to be blue like the Tyrrells and the Marches that Jackie used to drive? No, he came out with a white car, but I loved it. Not even a Kyriakos had tartan on their car, and they were Scottish.
They used to run brilliant blue.
Great. Beautiful. Which is a Scottish colour, of course.
good-looking car.
But do you remember...
Is blue officially a Well, I suppose it's on the flag, isn't
it? Sure it is.
Yeah.
Scottish blue, in the Saltaire.
And also, what colour everyone's skin goes in the winter.
Blue.
So, what do you think of my racing car?
Aye, Jackie, that's a lovely car and that's a tremendous tartan. What are these colours?
Well, the white represents the thick flurries of snow, red is the colour of the end of our noses, and the blue is everybody's skin.
Oh, aye. Reminds me of summer, all right.
Sniff Petrol with Gareth Jones on speed!
We're playing a game. Feel free to play along at home if you like. We're picking our top 3 motorsport liveries of all time. Last time Zog started with number 3. This time, Richard, you start with your second place motorsport livery of all time.
Greatest motorsport liveries of all time. Second place.
I'm going to go for a fairly broad spectrum, but I can narrow it down. An overview, if you like, is that it is the Brabhams that were sponsored by Parmalat, the Italian dairy concern. Now, one of the things that's important here is that I love those cars and watching them when I was a kid, and I didn't even know what Parmalat did. But it sort of didn't matter. I was intrigued.
And it would have slightly spoiled it if you had
it would actually. It was like the same thing. I was also going to choose the Williams when they ran. You remember when they were sponsored by Saudi, Fly Saudi in the Saudi
very early sort of.
And I kind of thought, that's something to do with Saudi Arabia, maybe. But I didn't really even the word fly didn't necessarily suggest it was an airline. I just thought it was a cool livery. But I've gone for the Parmalat Brabham. You know, the BT52, the Gordon Murray design. Classic racing car.
Dark blue on white.
Dark blue on white.
In fact, they reversed it, didn't they? When it first came out, it was actually the whole thing was dark blue with Parmalat written in white, but within a year they swapped it so it would read. It became a white car with a dark blue. And Parmalat, if I recall, wasn't it Pedro Diniz's dad, who owned a massive supermarket chain in South America, who distributed Parmalat, so that's why Diniz had Parmalat sponsorship. But Parmalat got into some kind of financial trouble. There was tales of impropriety, wasn't there?
Yes. Fiscal irregularities at some point in their recent past.
Yes,
but this is all more recent. But back then I just thought it's one of those great, because I think really good liveries often have a sort of minimalism to them. They're not too busy. There's not too much going on. And that was, as you say, no matter which way round you had it, dark blue, white, that's it. It was just strong. There wasn't an awful lot else on that car, in my mind anyway. And I sort of looked up some pictures and it seemed to bear it out, that it was just a pretty simple, strong thing. But also, what it had that is probably important in the context of us talking about this is that it has a resonance from a time in your life when you for me, it was a little kid watching F1, and I just thought it was...
You're kind of getting into it the first
looked
time.
Cool.
Interesting, because I think I have a similar thing going on with you. It has a resonance in your life. My second choice.
Greatest motorsport liveries of all time. Second place. Gareth.
Is a car from roughly the same period as my first choice, and there's a reason for this. Is in the sort of late 90s, the mid to late 90s, I was drawing Formula 1 cars on Microsoft Paint. That's what I did before the season started. As all the cars came out, one by one, I would draw the liveries of the new cars, just like a kid would, still a kid. And the one that I enjoyed recreating the most is my next choice. And that is I think it was 99 EJ10, a Jordan, of course. Yellow.
Was that the first yellow and black year? Or
no, they came through a few years. When they had the snake head, Giancarlo Fisichella and Ralph drove, that was
Bitten and Hisses era.
Yeah, Bitten and Hisses. Then it became Buzzing Hornets when they put a wasp on for Benton and Hedges. It was the first of those 2 years of the Buzzing Hornets with Damon was driving that I really, really enjoyed. I just liked the whole waspish back to the thing. The yellow and black wash bit, you know, the way that the abdomen.
They executed that very, very well. Jordan have had more than their fair share of really cracking liveries for what's, what a really quite a small team.
Yeah, when the cars they were green, weren't they?
When they first appeared.
Yeah, and
7-Up.
Yeah,
and
that was quite a strong, simple livery.
Well,
Sassoil, was that?
Sassoil, that was Barrichello who brought the Sassoil sponsorship.
And that was that had green in it still, didn't it? But it was a stripe on a white car.
Red, white and blue was it? Sassoil.
Oh, that's right, yes, yeah.
Bizarrely.
Okay.
But yeah, you're right. Jordan had a good history.
Yeah.
But
the yellow and black was the best.
Yeah, I think that idea of having an animal nose, in the case of Jordan, initially a snake and then later a hornet rather than a wasp, was probably stolen from Dan Gurney's All-American Racers in America, who had an eagle nose on their champ cars, or kart I think they were called at that point, which were wonderful. Didn't go very fast, but it looked great. And I did like that idea of bringing that animal thing over. Yeah, I love that yellow and black. It's classic for me, still. Go on then, that's my second choice. Zogger.
Okay.
Greatest motorsport liveries of all time. Second place, Zog.
So my second choice, it was so tempted to go for the 86 McLaren, that lovely classic red and white. But no, I'm not going there. I'm not going there. In the end, it had to be the classic black and gold Lotus 79.
The 79, not the 72. The Essex written down the side, was it in 79, sir? JPS.
Black and gold, JPS.
Yeah, JPS, not Essex. No, yeah. What a beautiful, strong design that was. Apart from the fact that it was a pretty quick car, it just looks amazing.
Yeah, it was the same thing, I was saying about the Parmalat Brabhams, but also, as a kid, I just remember Elio De Angelis in a JPS Lotus, and then a lot of great drivers, but he was the first one to strike me because he had an impossibly exotic name.
Yeah.
And he just drove a car that was incredibly cool looking.
Yeah.
And to a 7-year-old kid, that was all that really mattered.
What more could you want?
And
of course, still being referenced by
the current team. Well, the current car that carries those colours, what is now called the Lotus, it's still a Renault, isn't it? Enstone.
Yeah.
Enstone. They made a mistake. I think the coach lines, the gold coach lines, are too broad. If they were thinner, it would look slicker.
Yeah.
It would evoke that old JPS car a lot better.
Yeah, I think you're right, actually. But there may be some reasons why they decided they wanted to do that. But anyway, but there we go. That's sort of, 1978, 79, Lotus 79.
Well,
just beautiful, absolute classic.
I think a lot of people would argue that car worked well in those colours, especially those gold coach lines, because it was an angular car. It had edges to it, and a more sort of compound curved shape doesn't work so well with those sort of pinstripe round the highlights. But
yeah, I think there's something in that. Yeah, no, the slight slabbiness of the sides and so on. It definitely works with those fine lines.
Excellent choice, and probably most people's number one.
Yeah.
Okay, we continue our F1 Top 10 chart rundown.
That's right, mate, and there are just 3 records to go.
You're not wrong, mate. So who's occupying the big 3 of this week?
Well, mate, at number 3, it's none other than Rockin' Ron Dennis with his new single, a quantity of notes arranged into an audibly satisfying sequence to permit the overdone application of some memorable words and sentences that may convey expressions pertaining to love or human emotions of a comparable nature.
He's a crazy guy.
He sure isn't, mate. Who's at number 2, me old chum?
Wouldn't you know, it's Nigel and the Men Silhouettes with On and On.
Right.
And on and on and on and on and on and on and on.
He really does, doesn't he, mate?
God, doesn't he ever? So let's move on to the big number 1 song in our F1 chart. Put us out of our misery, mate. Who's in the top slot this week?
The number 1 is... Wow! For yet another week, it's our old mate Colin Chapman with his smash hit single Selling Fags on My Car from the Platinum selling LP Black and Gold.
We were hoping to speak to Colin live from Brazil, but when we rang him, he pretended he was still dead.
What a zany guy.
Gareth Jones on speed.
So here we are in the closing stages of the programme where we choose our favourite racing liveries of all time. Both of my choices up to now have been F1 cars. My final choice is not an F1 car.
Greatest motorsport liveries of all time. First place.
in my opinion, this car, in these colours, is more beautiful than a John Player Special. It's more beautiful than a Ferrari 312 T2. It's more beautiful than Damon's FW18 Williams in the Rothmans colours. When I see this car, it makes something in my trousers oscillate.
Is it the Austin Allegro Equipe?
Oh, actually, with that orange and the black and the white.
Get on with it.
It's a Ferrari, but it's not an F1 car. It's the sports prototype that raced throughout the 90s.
Yes.
The 333 SP in the Momo colours. So it's a red car with yellow highlighting accents and Momo branding down the sides. Now, so much do I love the design of this car. If you've ever seen me racing karts, and I know you have, my race suit is a red Momo race suit with the yellow piping. I like to imagine I'm Eric van der Poel driving a 333 SP. There's just something so complete, so glamorous, so European, and most importantly, because Momo is the big message that you get from this car, something very motorsport about that whole car. It just shouts motorsport with a V12, that Ferrari V12. I love that car. And actually, what have you?
A guitar. Violet wanted to see.
Oh, I see.
Your choice, which I just pulled up on my iPad. And in the course of the excitement of looking at the livery, which is corking, and we were just admiring it together, and the guitar fell over.
Yeah, we know more music on this programme.
But it's also sort of solved the classic dilemma of, would you like your Ferrari in red or yellow, sir? Well, have it in both.
And they're both Ferrari colours, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly.
I love it. I like the alternative quality because it's not a Formula 1 car, it's a sports prototype. That is my favourite livery and probably my favourite race car of all time, that car. I love the way it looked. Okay, that's my number one choice.
Okay, good choice.
Z, what is your number one choice motorsport livery of all time?
Greatest motorsport liveries of all time. First place, Zog.
Okay, well, I think you might have been able to guess at this one, but I'm going to go for Gulf colours on Porsche 917.
Of course, why didn't I say that out loud? Yeah.
I'm surprised I managed to get this far without somebody picking ahead of me. But
maybe we knew you'd take care of it.
To be honest, I could have gone for a GT40. I could have gone for other John Wyer run Gulf cars. But those Gulf colours, the orange and blue, it's just so beautiful. That's just, no question, my favourite motorsport livery.
I will never forget that something you said on this programme, perhaps as much as 60 years ago, maybe even 7 years ago now.
I thought you said 60 years ago.
60 years. When we were podcasting in
the heady summer of 1952.
You said the Gulf colours are so good that you can paint anything in those colours and it makes it look good. Yes. And I know that to be the truth now.
I think I tried to prove it by painting my phone in Gulf colours.
And it looked great, man. It looked great. I saw a Citroen Mahari in Gulf colours at Le Mans. That looked fantastic.
That was not the last time before it. Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, absolutely. You can do anything in those colours. Looks cracking. So
genius. But why the 917 and not the GT40?
It is a close call because they're both such beautiful, iconic race cars with great history, but the 917, it's not the Steve McQueen thing, it's just the ultimate, 70s sports racing car.
I was right, the 70s is in him. I knew it had come out. Nice choice, see? Richard Porter.
Hello.
What is your number one choice of motorsport livery of all time?
Greatest motorsport liveries of all time. First place, Richard.
Well, I reserve the right to change my mind on this, but as I said, I just sort of thought of things that popped into my head, and I'm glad I left this one to last because it's probably the most iconic.
Can we guess?
Go on then, have a crack.
Is it
Orange Arrows A22?
The lime green 40 Ford?
No.
Is it
the Pink Pig?
Oh yeah, nice idea.
I could have gone for that.
Could have gone for the Pink Pig.
It's too late, so no, I'm not going back on that.
Is it Ralph Schumacher in a Toyota?
Do you know it's not?
Come on, what is it?
It's what's become known as the BMW Motorsport colours, but as applied to the 3-litre CSL, the Batmobile, if you will, from the early 1970s.
Martini-esque.
Sort of Martini-esque, but then the BMW Motorsport colours, which are used to this day on the M badge, which is applied to M3s and M5s, and sadly also to any M Sport edition of any old BMW, which slightly bastardises it, but that's fine because it's only a little badge. And they still do occasionally apply it to things like the Ring taxis, and they do these sort of limited edition cars sometimes, or kits you can get for like the 1 Series and the other 3 Series. It's always applied with minimalism, I think, which goes back to what we were saying. It's always a white car. And you just have some stripes up the side, or they pick out the sort of details on the bonnet or up and over the roof or whatever. So it just seems to me it's never overdone. But it's very, very simple, and it's 3 very strong colours. Because it's just nothing too flashy and overcomplicated. It's just red, white and blue, basically.
Yes, it's graphically really, really strong.
Just a couple of primary colours.
It resurfaced. I remember a few years ago when BMW owned Sauber, that there was the hint of that coming through in the Sauber.
Yes, they did.
And with that, it had a quality about it which reminded me of the Spectrum logo from Captain Scarlet as well.
Oh, I thought you meant the Spectrum logo from the ZX.
ZX81. Now that would be a very cool car,
which did have something, but black with and that sort of rainbow of
it was good design.
But it's all about simplicity and strength and just keeping it to the bare minimum. And I just think that's why those BMW Motorsport colours are an instant win for me, because it's really strong colours applied with moderation. And also the Batmobile is a bloody cool car. It doesn't matter how you dress it up. And there are a number of liveries those things around, but
that's the best for them.
Hey, if you want to see what a Sniff Petrol race car might look like, or a Gareth Jones on Speed race car might look like, there is going to be a video game for your mobile phone soon that features car designs that we have contributed towards.
If you want to see what a Zog race car looks like, just
go and see Zog's car. In Racing Maroon. Oh no, Racing Brown, do we call it?
No, it's Racing Maroon, Racing Burgundy, with a few racing spots peeling off the bonnet at the moment.
That's my favourite livery.
Yeah, you've been listening to Violet Berlin off mic. Say goodbye, me.
Bye.
The man called Zog.
Goodbye.
The man called Richard.
Goodbye.
And the soft lad called Gareth. We're going to leave you with a tune. You may have noticed that the Le Mans 24 Hours is with us very, very soon indeed. So here's a song about the lies that we tell ourselves and our partners when we say we're just going for the 24 hours. We wanted Elbow to sing the song for us. They obviously couldn't. So instead, here's our version. This is Funnybone and the 24 Hours. See ya.
I've packed my bags. It only took 2 days, making sure I got everything I need. Tent, coat, shorts, boots and a hat and binoculars that should see me through the week. I know I said I'd do those things for you. Build a kitchen flat pack, paint the kids' room again. I will be back for our anniversary, but there's a date I have to make. It's work honest, it's work honest, and I thank you for letting me go when I come back from there.
to send us an email, see pictures, get song lyrics, join our Facebook fan site or follow us on Twitter, go to garethjones.tv. Gareth Jones on Speed is made in London by Whiz Bang.
Gareth Jones on Speed!